Okay, looks like we should be live. How's everyone doing today? Looks like we got one feed in. Up, 30 visitors. Excellent. How's everyone doing today? Get some Bill. Excellent. Greetings from Liverpool. Greetings from Antioch, California. How you doing, Bill? Excellent. Mr. Powers is in the house, unfortunately. Gary, Gunter, hello everybody. Someone just give me a thumbs up. The audio, I assume audio and visual is a go. That we are good to go. All is well. Excellent. Thanks, Mr. Cole. So, today's live stream kind of came up during last week's hangout. Okay, so hey, plug for the hangouts. If you don't join our Friday hangouts, you're seriously missing out. Okay. Martin, thanks for coming on. Dr. Bob, Dave. Thanks for popping in, Dave. Okay. So during last week's hangout, I was helping James. James is a kind of a regular at the hangouts, and he was trying to build a website, and he was stuck on the banner and how to do this like specific type of banner that was kind of an edge case, not like a typical type of, he wanted like a 2-column banner, and I built it out for him. I helped him out during a few weeks ago, and sorry to call you out, James, but using you as an example here. And so he had spent a lot of time analyzing what I had done, and a lot of it just wasn't clicking for him. And he wasn't making much progress on the site because he was like fixated on getting this one thing done, right? And that did require some, some swatches and maybe some, some advanced intermediate knowledge, right? And so last Friday, I was like, okay, let me just strip everything out. To hell with swatches. Okay, forget about them. Okay, forget that they exist. And this is true for a lot of people. I see that, quite a few people, they get lost and they try to add too many stacks. Not only swatches, but just they add a ton of stacks to the page that maybe aren't even needed. And then they start adding swatches to do all kinds of stuff because they think they need them. And so I built out, yes, it was a very basic site, a web page. Okay. I did a lot of it first. I built out the entire web page with 0 swatches, absolutely none. Okay. And yes, the page was bland. Okay. It was a little blah, but then we just started adding a swatch here and there. And ultimately we ended up with, I think, like 4 or 5 swatches on the entire page. And it was a decently clean, functional web page. Okay. Did have a lot of whiz bang, super amazing, cool layouts that were mind blowing? No, it didn't, right? But for someone who's just starting, that's okay, right? It's okay to build a simple web page. Okay. And, without, going down a rabbit hole on how can I achieve this cool effect that I saw, some other user do on the community. Okay. Or, so I think starting today, we're going to start from scratch on a completely blank project. And I'm going to build out most of the entire page without any swatches to begin with. Okay. And then once we have our page kind of done and structured, you'll see what it kind of looks like. And then you'll be like, okay, cool. Now let's sprinkle in a couple styles and let's make it look nice. Okay. So that's what we're going to do today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and I'm going to create a brand spanking new project file. What the heck? All right. Actually, before I begin, Stacks 423 just shipped last night. So yeah, Stacks 423 shipped. And yeah, you should check it out. You should go download it, install it, check for updates in RapidWeaver. It's got a couple really good features or fixes, I should say. First off is the little updates button on the bottom of the Stacks library. It actually shows you a number now when you have Stacks updates. So that's fixed. So now we'll know when we have Stacks updates, so we know to click that little button. So definitely make sure you do that. I'm sure after people install this, they're going to install tons of Stacks updates that they never even knew existed. So go ahead. That's a good one. The next one is missing stacks. So if you have a project file that was made prior, here's the caveat. If you have a project file that was made prior to 4.2.2, okay, there was a bug in 4.2.2 that basically didn't show you what a missing stack was in a project, okay? So again, the caveat is if your project was made prior to 4.2.2 and you install this 4.23 update, it will all work, okay? Now, if you created a file while Stacks 4.2.2 was out and you added stacks to the page, those missing stacks, it's kind of a caveat. It won't be in there because 4.2.2 had the bug. So, so for a majority of the projects out there, at least, if you install 4.2.3, the missing stacks bug will be fine, will work. And obviously, if you save a project file with 4.2.3, it'll make sure that in the future, it all works copacetically as well. Okay. 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 And James, I do have that project in video for you. Okay. So, but we're going to go a little further today than I did last Friday, a little bit. All right. So like I promised, I am starting from a brand spanking new project file. So I have nothing up my sleeves. There's nothing up my sleeves. I have no magic. Okay. I have a little magic. I have a kind of a some notes over here on the side that I'm going to be making sure that I kind of follow. Yeah, I have some pre-selected images that I'm going to use so that it at least looks kind of coherent a little bit. Okay. And you might notice it. I'm going to use some of the similar images from a project file I made a couple of years ago with Foundation 6. So anyway, let's go ahead and start Stacks. Boom. Okay, so I got a new project file. And as with any Foundation project, we're going to chuck in site styles. Okay. Now, as I promised, I'm not going to be doing any swatches for a while. So I'm just going to minimize site styles right now. And let's start cracking. Okay. So up at the top of our page, obviously, we're going to want like a banner, right? So that's kind of, typical. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to add a container. And oops, I'm going to add a one column into there. Okay. And then inside that, we're just going to add a header. Okay. And we're going to do Foundation 6. All right, here we'll do who needs swatches. Okay. Yet. Okay. So obviously I want my header to be centered. So we're just going to go ahead and do alignment. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do on the container. So you could do alignment on this, but I'm actually going to make sure that the container, everything is centered. So I'm just going to go up to my container and do content alignment centered. Cool. There we go. So now whatever content I add into this container, it'll be centered. Okay. Okay. Next up, let's go ahead and below that, let's just add in, I'm going to add another container. Okay. Now, one thing I do is I tend to, I've shown this in other videos, right? But I tend to use containers to break up sections of my web page, right? So we tend to make web pages in sections. So like I have my header and I have my, whatever next content. And I tend to create these sections using a container. Now, I'm not going to dive into any other detailed sections. I'm not going to go down any rabbit holes with a container right now. Okay, so we have a container. let's just go ahead and add like a 2-column. Okay, so I have a 2-column, and let's say on this side, I want to have a picture. Okay, so actually, let's get a little fancy. Let's go. I'm gonna go ahead and add a caption. I'm gonna do some stuff you guys maybe have not seen before. So I'm gonna do a caption, and inside this caption, I'm going to add a picture stack. Okay, boop. And then inside that picture, let's just go ahead and let me get a photo really quick. Let's do this one. All right, boom. Okay, so I have a picture, and then over here, I'm just going to go ahead and add some text. So we're going to add some text. Right? And we'll get rid of this generic. Let's do header forum. Okay, there we go. All right, let's do. Oh. Ah. There we go. There we go. Okay, so now I have a 2-column with a image and some text. Okay, and let's say that's my section. Okay, as you see, I'm building this entire page out. I know kind of the general layout I want to do. So we're gonna add another container. That's a new section. We're gonna add another 2-column in here. Actually, you know what? Let's break it up. I'm actually, instead of doing a 2-column here, I'm gonna do a 3-column. Okay. Actually, let's just preview. There we go. Doesn't look too great, right? We got our header is not very big. We're gonna get there. Okay. Our 2-column layout. Let's add a little bit of gutter in there, so it's a little bit spaced out. Oh, there we go. That's looking much nicer, right? Okay. Looking pretty good. There we go. Pretty simple, but let's keep going. I know that banner's super small right now, but that's okay. We'll get there. All right, now I have a 3-column layout. What I'm gonna do is over here, I'm gonna add a card. Let's go ahead and add a card so we have a little bit of style. And at the top, we're gonna do a card divider. Okay. And then in here, we're gonna do like a header. I'm gonna do a little header in there. Okay. And then below the card divider, we're gonna have a picture. So we're just gonna chuck a picture in there. And then below that, we're gonna have a card section with some text. Now let's just do like, all right, I'm gonna be lazy. I'm gonna copy this stuff that I had from over here. All right, so I just have a little bit of text. The picture. Let's go ahead and add a picture. Let me get my stock art here. All right, and we're gonna chuck that in there. I have a card. Decent looking card. Let's go ahead and replicate this card across our 3-column. Now, another thing I'm going to want to do is, just like this 2-column, I'm going to want to add a little bit of gutters, just so there's a little bit of spacing in there. Okay. And let's swap out these pictures because we don't want the same picture in every single one. What fun is that? So we'll do this one in there. And then do this in here. Okay, let's preview. Look at that. All right, we're getting somewhere. All right, so I have kind of an interesting layout, right? I have a 2-column here, 3-column, kind of mix the layout up a little bit. Okay, pretty cool. Then let's see. And let's do another 2-column layout below this one. Okay, so let's just we're almost at the bottom of the page. I'm not going to make this in a crazy complicated page. Okay, So we'll do 2 columns. I'm going to swap the layout here, right? So here, let's just take this text stack. I'm going to put that over here. We're going to take this caption and picture stack. I'm going to plop that over there. And then we want to swap out this picture so it's different. Let's see, what picture didn't I use yet? This one. All right. Oh, in this 2 column, I want to make sure I add in some gutters. Okay. Preview. As you see, things are a little crowded, right? Okay, but things are looking good. Look, I have some cool captions on my images. I got a nice card layout with some nice images. Key here, okay? Beautiful imagery makes a website. Okay? I won't lie. I use these images because they look super cool and nice, right? So, you know, if you're building your website for yourself, for your customer, maybe don't use the images they took with their iPhone, right? Good images can make or break a website. Okay. And as you see, I've added 0 styles. The only thing I've ever done is I added some gutters to the columns. That's it, right? So far. Again, we'll adjust the spacing and whatnot, but I just want to get the basic page just done, right? Just get her done. All right. And so let's go ahead and let's add another section here. And let's say this section is going to have, let's do like a contact form or something like that. How about that? Add a 1 column in here, and let's do a header. And we'll do like contact us. H3, yep, H3. Okay. And let's just add a form. Add a form below that. Okay, and inside the forms, let's use like a basic contact form. So I have a template, but I'm just gonna do all this really quick. So here we'll do this. Input field name is name. Let's see, in the placeholder, I want like full name, something like that, right? And there we go, something like that for accessibility. Okay, and then we want, let's see, name, and then let's see, here we're going to want email, right? So we have email address, email. I'm not going to get creative with my captions here. We'll just be a little boring. Okay. Here we will do, how about this? We will never give your email away. We respect you. Sometimes. Unless your name is James. There we go. Okay. Okay, so there we got name, email, and then what we comments, right? So we need a text area. Okay. And let's just say this is comments, placeholder. What can we do for you? Okay. Comments. Help. Except you, James. There we go. Okay. There we go. Oh, and obviously we want to submit it, so we're going to need a button, right? So we go ahead and we do a button, and we do submit. And type of button is, oh wait, oh my bad, can't use a button. I need a submit button. Oh, what a rookie mistake. Okay. Submit button. Submit. Okay. And you know what? I don't like the sharp edges, so we're just going to add a little radius to our button. So I'm adding a little bit of style elements here, right? Okay. So now we got a container with a contact form. And lastly, let's go ahead and create a footer. Okay. So let's go ahead and last section of our page, we're going to add a container. And inside this container, what are we going to do? We're going to do, how about, we'll do 4 columns. Okay. We'll do a 4 column doodad there. And then we're going to just add some text in the first one. How about like, you know, copyright, 2022 space, something like that, right? All right, and then over here, we're gonna do a header. Let's do like more info. I think I want like a H. I think we'll do H3. It's fine. Oops. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do H4 there, just for fun. A little tinier. All right. And this one is gonna be like, I don't know, our friends. I don't know. Contact us, something like that. All right. And then, oops, created 2 of those. And then we're gonna do a menu, and pretty much what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna, I want this menu to be a vertical menu, right? And I'm just gonna copy it. Okay, so kind of a, just a traditional footer. Actually, let's go ahead and let's do our logo for this, because let's say our web page needs a logo, right? So I'm gonna do SVG. Let's see, this is an app called Nucleo. Let's do this SVG here. We're gonna copy SVG code, and then I'm gonna paste that in there. Okay, cool. And then we're going to restrict the width. Well, the fill's already white, so let's scale image. Let's do like a max size of, let's do like, I don't know, 48 pixels, something like that. They're nice and tiny. All right, let's preview this. All right, well, our logo, it doesn't look too great like that. Let's go ahead and we'll change the fill to black so we can see it. Cool. So here we got our SVG is cool. I like that. Looking pretty good. Probably don't need full width there. Sweet. I like it. Oops. So let's see. There we got, that's the basic structure of our page, right? And as you see, yeah, we can increase the padding on some various things, but all in all, it's a decent looking web page. It's getting there, right? So no stacks. Let's see. PC assist massive. I'm so confused. There's no stacks first. No site styles first. No, I added site styles. You might have missed it. I put site styles up here. I just hit it. Okay. Let's see. Any other, just the stack, in total rapid rate, stacks. Yes. And so, okay. Yes. So sorry. Looks like PC assist or Mac assist. You joined a little bit late. it looks good on desktop, but should we build for mobile first? Good question. Let's see what this looks on mobile. So there we go. I haven't done anything right now. And hey, that looks pretty good on mobile. Right? I think it looks pretty decent on mobile. Again, it's a little crowded, but we'll definitely fix that. Okay. So good question about mobile first. But as you see, I've done very basic work here. The only settings I really changed were adding gutters to columns. I think that was the only thing I actually ever did. On the SVG, I added a little bit of scaling, right? So it doesn't fill. But all in all, this is a very bare bones site right now, and it doesn't look ugly. Okay. But let's take it up a notch and let's add some white space. I think that white space will be very important. And the theme is, set to foundation. So I have my project files default set to foundation. So when I created this new project file, the theme was already set to foundation 6. Okay. So yeah, I'm not going to go back that far in terms of the basics. I'm just talking about basics of building a site without swatches and whatnot. I have a lot of other sites on basics of RapidWeaver. So make sure your theme is set to foundation 6. And site styles that needs to be on the page. Okay. And all that jazz. Okay. So what are we going to do? Let's go ahead and start adding some spacing between these sections. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, I had these containers that had every section. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these containers that had each section. And I'm actually not going to choose the footer or the header. Okay. I'm going to do, kind of like all the main content of the page. Okay. And, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a class to all of them. And if you noticed, what I did is I selected each of them, right? Because you can modify multiple stacks at once. So I selected all those containers, and I'm going to do, now let's just create like content dash section. Okay. So I'm going to add the content section class to all of them. So if you look here, I have content section. If we scroll down to this one now, I have content section and all that jazz. Okay, cool. So what we want, let's talk about what we want first. So I want separation between all of these sections. Okay. So I need some white space essentially. And there's a couple ways we can do that. Okay. And what I'm going to do is we're going to add a padding swatch. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a padding swatch. So this is going to be our very first swatch we ever add to our page. Okay, and content dash section. So for all of those content sections, okay, I'm going to go to detailed. I want to do padding on the top and the bottom. Okay, and if you notice this padding chart is kind of helpful. Let's do like a 128, something like that. Okay, so I'm going to do top of 128, bottom of 128. Okay, that's it. That's all I'm going to do. Okay, let's preview. So we've kind of spaced our sections out. Pretty good. I like it. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and we're going to add content section to this too. Content. We'll just keep everything consistent. I think this will work. I didn't go this far in my notes, so we'll see. Content dash section. I think that might be too big for that. Oops. All right. So we have kind of our big banner up here. Okay. Oh, one thing I forgot. Our banner needs some sort of menu, right? We need a menu up there. Okay. So we'll add that. I forgot to add the menu. Okay. I think this padding is maybe a little big. So let's go ahead and just tweak that a little bit. So instead of 128, I'm going to do 96. Okay. You see, we're getting there, right? It's not horrendous. If you saw this website online, you'd be like, hey, you know, it's a decent look. It's simple, but it's a decent looking website. Okay. Let's go ahead before I forget, before I get too far, let's go ahead and add a menu to here. So, go ahead and add, let's just do a simple menu. Okay. There. We're going to do a menu. Hey, actually, here, let's do something cool. I'm going to add a menu drop zone in there. And go ahead and take this SVG, plop it in there. Okay. And then I want to move this bad boy here. Oops. You know what? Sometimes let's just do detailed layout. Menu drop zone. I want it there. You ever want to see like the detailed, like all the individual stacks inside of a menu? Click on this detailed layout button and you can swap it back. And there we go. Let's just keep it even. Okay. So here, let's just, I don't want it too big. Let's just keep it simple like that. And then I'm going to go menu, and then let's preview this menu there. Let's go ahead and stretch that out. So I'm just going to do horizontal alignment, justify. I think that'll be good. There we go. Okay. We'll work on the position of it. Okay. But for right now, I think that works. Cool. Okay. So I think I like the spacing here. I think everything looks pretty nice. Okay. And we've done all of this with one swatch so far. I have one swatch on the page. Okay. So let's start getting a little fancier. Okay. So obviously we need a little bit of color. Okay. Everything is just plain blah white right now. Okay. So what we're going to do is let's focus on this banner. So let's give the banner a little bit of color. Okay. Or some content here. And then we need to position this menu a little bit. Okay. So, this one, I'm going to create a specific class for this. So we have the content section, okay, there, but I want to do, let's do like, just call it banner. How about that? We'll just call it banner. I'm giving it a second class called banner. Okay. And so let's go ahead and let's add a background. Okay. And we're going to target banner. Okay. And what we're going to do here is we're going to do a background color. And let's just do like a kind of a deep purple, something like that. Let's go for a darker color. Okay. I kind of like that. Or if we wanted to get super fancy, if we didn't even want a color, okay, let's say we want an image. I'm going to add a background image. Excuse me. Something was tickling my nose. Okay, let's add a background image. We're going to go super fancy. I'm going to add in a background image there. Okay, and let's preview that. Ooh, looking fancy. Okay, looking fancy. Now, if you notice here, so I did that with just one swatch. Okay, I had added a background image, just to the banner. Now, let's say, for example, this banner, we wanted it maybe a little bit larger. You know, we could increase the padding on the banner or whatnot. Let's a couple things. The text here is very difficult to read. Okay. There's a couple different things we could do, ways we could do that. But the easiest way is inside site styles, you already have text colors, default text colors and alternate text colors. Okay. And the alternate text colors are normally used for a colored or a darker background. Okay. And if you notice, this says alt, and the way to easily access those is just by adding an alt class to anything. So I'm going to go ahead and add the alt class to my banner container. If you notice that header already turned white, let's preview that. Cool. I like that. Okay. Let's see, 1 second. Okay. Perfect. Next up is this menu. Okay. So, the menu colors are kind of hard to read, right? This SVG is black. That'd be nice if it was white. Actually, if you remember, the default color of that SVG was white. So I'm going to turn that off. So that makes it nicer. Okay. Now how can we change the color of menus? Okay. Pretty simple. Under components, we're going to add a menu styles swatch. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set all of these colors just to be white. Just going to set everything to be white. Okay. We're going to set all the colors to be white. Background. Oh, background. I don't want a background. Active items. Everything's going to be white. Cool. Text on hover. Or if we want, we can do, a lot of times what I'll do is on the hover colors, instead of specifying a particular color, a trick is to make it the same exact color, but then just add a little bit of an opacity, right? So if you do like, 70, 80% opacity or something like that, on the text color, the whatever the background is will kind of bleed through 20%, right? So, there we go. Let's just do that. All right. Now here, let's just keep things simple. I'm just going to do, let's just call it, banner menu. Okay. Oops. If I spell right, banner menu. Okay. There we go. Cool. So now the menu items are a little easier to see. Okay. And we have our menu or our title. Actually, this needs to be an H1. Something I need to do here. Go to here. It needs to be an H1. There we go. A little bit bigger. So now let's go ahead and position this menu. Okay. I want it, let's say, at the very top up here. Okay. Let's do it. I'm going to do two things. First off, I also want to add a background color to it. I want it to kind of stand out a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a container in here. Okay. And then we're going to, oops, I want the whole menu. And I'm going to add a background. We're going to call this menu dash wrapper. Oops. I'm getting a little fancy here. Sorry. I should do going off script a little bit, but let's go like a dark blue with some opacity. Let's do like 50%, something like that. Okay. So basically I'm adding a container to this menu. All right. Let's look at that. Excellent. All right. So if you see there, I now have a menu. We need to make it go full width. We'll fix that as well. And maybe a little bit less opacity. Excellent. I like that. And if you notice, the menu kind of goes right to the tip top of that, right? So let's go ahead and one thing I'm also going to do is on this container, I'm going to change this to be from site width. So if you look here, this container, it's restricting containers by default. What their job is to constrain the size of your content to the site width setting in site styles. Okay. I don't want that for this container. Okay. So what I can do here is I'm actually going to set this to be, you can either do site width or full width or auto no wrapper. I'm going to do, we'll do full width plus gutter. Why not? Oh, but I don't want the gutter actually. So we'll do full width. There we go. Okay, so now my menu's full width. And then we want it to be a little bit larger, right? We want to add padding to the top and to the bottom, okay, of this to add a little bit of spacing. So I already have a class there, menu wrapper. I'm going to add padding to this. And we're going to do similarly to how we did on the sections. I'm just going to add a top and bottom padding of, let's do like 20 pixels. See what that looks like. Yes, I like it. Okay. And how do we move it up to the top? Okay. How can we do that? There's a couple ways we could do that. Trying to think of the most simple solution for this. I'm getting crazy, Joe. Uh-oh. Am I getting too crazy for you, James? Hopefully not. Okay. I haven't done anything nuts. I've only added backgrounds and padding. It's pretty much all I've done. And I changed the menu colors. Okay. Okay. What I do is, remember before I added this content section class to this banner? Okay. I'm going to remove that right now. Okay. So now I have, if you notice, now my menu is kind of up at the top where I'd want it. Okay. It's cool. All right. So then what I could do is I could add padding to this, right? So maybe I can add the instead of trying to leverage this content section class, because this really isn't a content section, let's create something new. Okay. So I'm gonna copy and paste that, and let's just do banner content. How about that? So I have a banner content, and I'm going to replicate the same content there. There we go. So now we kind of have equal spacing everywhere. I even think this could go even more, right? So I said earlier that, actually, on this menu wrapper, I'm going to reduce that padding a little bit. It's a little big. All right. And then in this one, we're going to raise it, actually. 128 and 128. There we go. Liking that. Okay. We're getting there. Okay. So now, what other things can we do to kind of jazz things up? Okay. I think having the site is like all white. It's not horrible, but I think kind of alternating the colors of these sections could be nice. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we're going to make some of these sections white, and we're going to make some of them kind of maybe a gray color. Okay. So let's pick, I'm going to choose this. We're going to alternate as well. So let's say this section here is white. This one's going to be gray, and we'll scroll down, and this one will be white, and this one will be gray, and then our footer will remain white. Okay. How's that sound? Okay. So let's go ahead and, oops, I do select. So that one's going to be gray, and this one's going to be gray. Okay. So let's just create this. We'll do this alt-section. Okay. Now this isn't alt. I could make these black, like a darker color, then use the alt class for the lighter colors, but we're not going to do that. Let's just do that alt. So I have alt section on all of those. And I'm going to do a background swatch. And we're just going to do a background color of, let's keep light gray. Let's see. I think you can go lighter than that, actually. Let's go a little bit lighter. What color is that? Let's do... how about like F2? Let's see. Maybe a little darker. Something like that. Ooh, that's even lighter. All right, let's do like 240. All right. There we go. I kind of like that. Okay. So there we go. I mean, this is looking really nice, I think. Right? What are you guys thinking? Did I went a little crazy up here? I know I could have broken some of your brains with maybe some of that, but if you notice this web page, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's 7 swatches. Okay. And I probably could have done without a couple, maybe this padding up here. I probably could have done something else, right? But so pretty simple web page. I built all this out. I mean, I think most of the time was me just creating this content, right? There's all kinds of interesting stuff that we could do. We could even just start, adding some accents to, let's say, these card dividers, right? Here, we'll go a little bit out. Let's say this card divider, okay? Let's call this, I don't know, dark dash accent, okay? And we'll add an alt in there. So what I'm gonna do is here's on these cards, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and do, we're gonna add a background color. Call this dark dash accent, okay? Background color, dark blue. Something like that, right? So there we go. I don't want to keep, I can keep tweaking this all day long, right? Oh, let's do one more thing to add a lot of pizzazz to our page with 0 swatches. Okay. And that's, who doesn't love some animations, right? Okay. So, we're going to go ahead and we're going to use the animate on scroll. Let's go ahead and add that to like our header. Okay. And so, we'll just keep fading up. Let's see. So when we load this, whoop, there we go. Okay. And, let's go ahead and let's just animate everything on the page. So let's see, this one's going to get, we're going to, fade in left big. I think that. Yep. Okay. So then we do that. And then over here, we're going to do fade in right big. Cool. Let's see here. I want fade in left big. In the middle one, we're just going to do fade in up big. Fade in right big. And then we'll just do all of it here. Boop. Fade in left big. Hopefully I'm doing this all right. Fade in right big. Okay, we'll leave the form as is. We'll get the idea here. So there we go. As we scroll down, we We get some cool animations, right? Sweet. That adds a lot of pizzazz to our pages. I like it. And how does it work responsively? Let's have a look. Everything kind of still scrolls in. There we go. I think the page looks pretty decent on mobile as well. So by default, things do work fairly well on mobile. Things you could do, you could tweak the fonts, you could tweak the font sizes if you wanted, but all in all, I think this is just a super clean, attractive web page that I think anyone would be happy to have. Okay. There was a lot of chit chatter in the chat that I kind of missed. I'm a soft 360. This is a big jump from Foundation 1. Yes. I didn't go over a lot. I mean, this video wasn't meant to be like, here's a introduction to someone who isn't familiar with Foundation 6 at all. I do have some videos for that. I have a video called Foundation 6 for Beginners. And so make sure you check that out. I talk about the philosophies of, and the new workflow and thought process for Foundation 6 and how it's different. It is very different, because all of our styles are centralized. Okay. So yeah, I skipped over a lot of stuff that, this video was meant for someone who is sort of familiar, at least with the basics of Foundation 6. And, hopefully, you did get something out of it though today, hopefully. Okay. Okay. Anything else? I wish I could put one together this fast. Yeah. The thing is here, I mean, we can spend a lot of time putting together, typing up text and whatnot, but just coming out, just throwing in some lorem ipsum text and, using fake text and whatnot, just to come up with a design is pretty, is pretty simple. Other things is, come up with inspiration, find, I think the biggest help is just playing around as well. And then, you'll learn things like, okay, my banner is going to be this, and kind of you alternate sections, and you don't want every section of your site to be like a 2-column with image on the left, image on the right. You want to vary things up, right? So if you notice here, this is a 2-column. I go to a different layout, which is a 3-column. I then go back to a 2-column, but it's opposite, right? So yeah, also if you want to kind of learn a completely different style, check out my one where I built the foundationstacks.com homepage. That was pretty different, but I did kind of alternate, the layouts a little bit, and you kind of flip things around, and, so yeah, make sure you check that out. I think varying the layouts, but still another thing that is important. Oh, and shoot, I'm not sharing my screen. I was just kind of talking about, I'm sorry. I was just talking about how, on this layout, again, I went from 2-column to 3-column, and then I went back to 2-column, but it's opposite of this 2-column, right? And then I have a contact form that goes full width, right? So you can kind of vary those types of layouts. Another important thing here, if you notice, is when I used, even when I used padding, okay, and stuff like that, I utilized the built-in numbers here. Okay. Now you can go to detailed and you can create your own custom stuff. However, okay, I explicitly used this sizing grid. Okay. Because this sizing grid, if you use it for various things, it just kind of makes things fit, right? It kind of just makes things kind of work together. The spacing just looks nice, right? It looks like it's uniform, even though it's not all the same. Okay. And that's because, this sizing scale that I've chosen, after a lot of research, it just kind of works. So try to be consistent with your sizing. And I will recommend you don't go off and say, I want 3 pixels here and I want, exactly. Stick with the sizing grid. I think it'll work pretty well for you. Okay. All right, and let's see any other questions. Okay. Another thing, one thing I should note that I kind of skipped over, but it is kind of a good thing to do. Like if you wanted, you can add like little titles here, right? So in this container, like I can put this is a banner or something like that, right? And then here in the HTML section, you can actually use like this is the header of my page. And then for this one particular one here, I can go HTML tag and I can do section, right? This is, I mean, to be honest, this is for a geek like me. If you want to ignore that and use a div, which is the default, it's no big deal. Okay. But I get asked questions about this HTML tag from time to time. And so like what I'll do, and I think I went over this inside my foundationstacks.com one, but then for each website section, I'll change this HTML tag to be a section. Okay. They say this helps for, Google and whatnot to parse your page. I don't know. Maybe it does also help mildly for accessibility a little bit. It has zero function on the the functionality of your site, right? It's kind of a completely optional thing. Maybe, you kind of comb afterwards and do stuff like that. Okay. But I just kind of wanted to note that a little bit. But the title section here is super useful. I think a lot of times what I'll do is if I have a complex page, I'll put in all the classes that I used so that I can see them here, right? So like this, when I added, to each of these sections, this has content section and alt section, right? So you can kind of see that. Again, that's just kind of a workflow thing that I use from time to time. If I want to make sure that I call out a particular thing, I can put the class in there so that I can see that it's kind of a useful thing. And don't forget, James says, don't forget about the pen stack. Thank you, James. Pen stack, free stack on my site, allows you to add, let's say, I want to add this entire section here, and I could be like, content section 1 or whatever. Okay. And then you can add whatever notes you want in here about this section. And this is pen is purely and if you can hide the entire contents in it. Pen is an edit mode only tool. It doesn't affect the actual look and feel of your website. Your website's still going to look exactly the same, but allows you to add notes, and it allows you to nicely hide things, right? So you can kind of build out the basic structure of your site, right? So I can be like, this is I can add this section here. Okay. I can be like, this is cards section. Okay. Something like that. And you can hide that, and you can change the note color if you wanted. Okay. There are various people that use pen for all kinds of different things, but it is a nice way to organize your web page, and inside edit mode, and kind of break things down and give yourself notes as well. You can type in all kinds of notes in here so you don't forget why you did something later on. Okay. You can use pens inside of site styles as well. So you can add in a pen in here. Okay. And maybe add all of your various, related swatches into a pen. Okay. Totally up to you. There's all kinds of ways you can organize this stuff. And I'll stop blabbing because I don't want to cause any more confusion. What is the shelf stack used for? That's a good question. That's a quick one. I'll answer that. So shelf allows us to, or let me go over the use case. Okay, so I have site styles. And if you see site styles is rather large, there's some things we could do, like we can not display the sizing chart, and we can not display the color palettes, and it can make site styles more minimalistic. Okay. There's also this cool streamlined edit mode if you really want to go all out, and kind of streamline and make edit mode faster. Okay. Yeah. I like the streamlined edit mode. It's not for everybody though. It hides a lot of the lines and borders and whatnot. But it gives you an interesting look. So maybe you can toggle that on and off, see if you like it or not. If you can kind of see the difference here, with that toggled on, or it's off right now. If I toggle that on, you'll see that. Okay. But Shelf. So a lot of times, let's say I'm all the way at the bottom of the page and I want to add some styles for this header or this section down here. Okay. A lot of times what we'll have to do is I have to scroll all the way up, add my styles, scroll all the way down, right? That could get a little annoying because you're constantly have to move up and down. Okay. So that's why we built shelf. So if you add shelf to the top of the page, a lot of times what I'll do is I will add site styles inside shelf. You can add whatever you want, okay, but site styles is a good one to add in there. Maybe also if you wanted to add, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll add this sizing chart there as well. So I don't have the sizing chart in site styles, but it's here, and I can quickly hide that. Okay, and what happens now is, if you notice, shelf is always there. So if I want to look at something in site styles, I can just open that up, look at site styles, maybe add some stuff, right? Or change some things, okay? And quickly just hide it again. And I'm still where I'm at. So, so shelf is just a useful tool to always have it accessible. Okay. And there's you can either have shelf, positioned at the bottom, positioned at the top, and you can also, by default, it's floated, which means, it kind of is further down, but if you unfloat, it'll kind of dock it, so it takes up a little less space. I particularly like the floated shelf myself, but so that's just some positioning options, whatever you like. So yeah, shelf is super awesome, super useful. Hopefully that helped, Dave. Double click to hide, Joe. Not everyone will have that snippet. Yes. So I've been double clicking to show and hide these. There is an FAQ. Just go to the Weaver Space community, search for double click, and you'll find the FAQ on how to enable that. It's the same thing as this little hide button up in the toolbar. Okay. So there is a double click to show and a double click to hide. It's a kind of a hidden preference inside Stacks. It doesn't exist yet. And if you want to enable that feature, just search the community. I have an FAQ on exactly how to do that. Thanks for the reminder on that, Gary. Yes. And Dr. Bob says, so this shelf stack is here. Okay. If I delete it, it looks, I even have a message inside shelf. Do not delete this stack if there's content inside of the shelf, because if I delete this shelf stack, my site styles is gone. So, and that could be very bad. So you definitely want to make sure that, and let me save this project. I'll just call it asset basic. And I'll make sure I supply the download. I'll have the download to this project file on the Foundation product page. I'll try to get it by the Hangout this week. It'll be there. Okay. So yeah, I just saved this project. I'll have the download link on the Foundation product page. Not sure what I'll call it, but it'll be there. Okay. And I'll make sure I link it to this particular YouTube video so that people always know that this is the video that I used. I actually built the project live. James is asking, the next time, can I do one on the Dev Inspector? Sure. We can do one on the Dev Inspector. Okay. Sweet. Okay. I think we're all done, guys. Just in the nick of time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully I didn't get too crazy. Hopefully you guys see that how, a decent workflow is of just creating your page first. Just get everything out there. Like, create your layouts. And I know there's a lot of amazing guys like Davide and Chris and Massimo that do these awesome project files. And then we're like, I want that. But let's be honest, we have to be true to ourselves. Okay. And, obviously Davide, Massimo, and Chris, they're very experienced users. And sometimes, we purchase their project files and you should, because they do some awesome stuff. But, sometimes it can be overwhelming trying to understand how everything was done. Okay. And just starting, okay, can be difficult. And I think if you take the workflow that we did today to just start, just get content out there. Don't worry about the stacks. Yes, this webpage I built was simple. It doesn't have tons of, super fancy hover animations and all that cool stuff that, those guys definitely do and they have. But we got to start somewhere. Okay. And once we get to a basic point and you build out something like this and you start using swatches of, okay, I just want to add padding to this thing. Okay, I just want to add a background. Then you get more comfortable doing that. And then you can move to the next level of adding some more things, right? And then ultimately you can get those project files and then copy bits out and use them in your project, right? I think that's also something, you don't necessarily, with those project files, yes, they are pre-made. They're pre-made websites and you can use them, but you can also just use them as examples of things that you can copy and paste into your project, right? You don't need to use all of Davide's projects or Chris's projects or Massimo's projects. You can just copy that one little bit and its related swatches, find its related swatches and paste that into a section of your existing web page, right? And that, that allows us maybe a little, ramp up our skills a little bit easier. So just some ideas. Cool. So thank you very much, guys. Friday hangout. It's going to be awesome. I'm sure I'll have lots of questions. Hopefully new guys coming and talking about what we did here today. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see you then. Take care, everyone. Bye.